Hello everyone, my name is Saurabh Kumar and I welcome you all to my video series of AWS where we have reached today in part number 12. In this video, we will be covering about Amazon EC2 concepts. We will be talking about instance type, instance size and instant version. So these are the things which we are going to cover in this particular video. We will be having a look at different instance types. We will try to understand them, where to use which type of instance, in which condition which type of instance we should use. So basically it will be a kind of theoretical session, but it will give a broad idea so that for the next session we will have enough information to do the practicals. So let's begin. So we are going to first see the factors for designing cloud solution. Meaning that why do we need cloud solution? If I talk about cloud services, especially if I talk about from AWS, the first service which was offered from AWS was S3. This was the first service, most popular. I'm talking about the popular services. So S3 was the first popular service offered by Amazon AWS, which comes under the category of storage. So which we have already finished in the last model where we have talked about a storage. We have seen about S3, we have seen about Glacier. Now we have reached to the next model where we will be talking about majorly two things. One is EC2 and one is EBS. So these are the two things we will be covering in this current module. So today is the first topic for this module where we are going to see about the concept of EC2, types of instance, size and all. So here you see what are the factors for designing a cloud solution. So very first factor is obviously it provides the resource. The cloud is having three the resource are defined in three categories as I explained in the very first session of AWS lecture. So the very first resource we call it as a compute, which means processor plus RAM. Second is network, which talks about your communication, your network devices and all. And the third is a storage, how the data is stored and where it is being stored. So these all three are first of all elastic and scalable if you use the cloud solution. That is the one form factor. One factors why we should go, why we design cloud solution. So the first factor I am telling you that resources, either it is compute, either it is network, either it is storage, these all are elastic and scalable. Scalable means anytime you will be having option to scale up and scale down. Elastic means you will be able to again resize it, you will be able to make it bigger or smaller. Second factor is automate the resource provision and allocation. If you are using cloud, it also helps you to do the automate of the resource provision. Whatever resource you are defining, whatever resource you are assigning to a specific EC2 or to a specific any service, it will be automatically provisioned and allocated to them. The third factor is it tells the customer that customers, you please focus on your service, not on the server. What does it mean? It means that the customer, they don't need to worry about the server and they can focus only on their services. For example, let's say that I am a cloud customer. If I was not a cloud customer, my services must be running on my on-premises server. For example, I have a file server. So this is my file server which is on my on-premises within my company. So my agenda to have this particular computer to provide a service of file service, but I also have to worry about the server because server sometime it may have hardware failure, it may have RAM out of a storage, it may have hard disk failure, it may have anything else. It means that if any hardware gets failure here on this server, I also have to be worried about that. I will have to take care of that if RAM gets failure, if hard disk gets failure, if SMPS is maybe has been blown out or something. So it is telling me, it is giving me again another type of headache. My focus is not on my service only. I have to also take care of so many things. I have to take care of that when power goes off, I have a proper generator or not? Do I have a proper power backup function or not? So these all are just disturbing me. I'm not able to focus on my basic service. Maybe my business is to provide a service, or maybe my business is to store the files on my file server, but I'm also doing so many things extra which I suppose not to do. So once I go for the cloud solution, the benefit will be that I will not be taking care of this part, that when the hard disk is failure, when the RAM is failure, when the power goes, I will not be able to, I don't have to even worry about them. What I will be only doing, that I will be getting exactly, I will be just focusing on my service, that the application service or maybe file service is running properly or not. That's it. Hardware will be managed by my cloud service provider. So that's how it is telling that the client will be able to focus on the service, what exactly they want. Rest, server part and hardware maintenance and everything, power, server engineer and all will be taken care by cloud provider. They don't have to worry about the server. Next factor is choose managed database services. You will be able to choose any managed database services, whatever is being offered by the cloud service provider. You will be having a next thing, that is remove single point of failure, because if your server is locally, then there is a chance that one day maybe if your server gets fail, your service will run, your service will not be able to provide the services. Your service may get a stop, or maybe if power gets fail or anything happen, or maybe you have only one computer there maybe which is running so many number of services. Let's say that it is running DSCP also, it is running DNS also, it is running Active Directory also. So if one device get fail, maybe you have bought a single computer which has very powerful RAM and processor, so you thought that let's run everything on this, but if in case one gets fail, this server gets fail, all the services will be failure. That will be single point of failure. So our cloud it removes the single point of failure, because you can make a small multiple instance, you can run multiple instance with the separate services maybe, or even if you are running multiple services and a single instance, this instance is also having another disaster recovery instance they are running on maybe different availability zone. So in case if this instance get fail, another instance is there as a backup. So that's how it is providing us a single point of failure. Chances will be less. There will be, you can say, negotiable. And then the last point is security of infrastructure and services is going to be increased, because to maintain your computer security from your local staff, or maybe to hiring an engineer who is very expert will be giving you too much cost to provide them salary and all. So maybe if you go to compromise that I don't have that much money to pay somebody who is expert in cyber security, if you maybe you try to ignore that area, what will happen? The security will be less on your server. So if you use the cloud service, you don't have to worry about the security also, because security will be taken care by again cloud service provider. They will take care of, depending on the which kind of service you are having. Either you are having a platform as a service, either you are having a software as a service. Accordingly they will provide the security also as a service. So these are some of the factors for designing the cloud solution. Why we design the cloud solution, why customer go to the cloud solution. Now let's continue for the next thing, that is what is Amazon EC2 is. What is exactly Amazon EC2 is? So in the first or second session I have already discussed about multiple name of the services. Among them one service is called as a EC2. What does it mean? Elastic Cloud Computing, or we also call it Elastic Computing Cloud. So exactly it means E, and why it is written C2? Because there is a 2 times C, one C for cloud, one C for computing. So Elastic Cloud Computing can be the name. It is providing a resizable compute capacity. the compute capacity, EC2 generally give you only compute. EC2 provides what? EC2 provide only compute power. Compute power means it will be only giving you the CPU and RAM. That's it. Network you will be taking care by something else. The storage you will be taking a different service. So EC2 is only going to give you two things, that is CPU plus RAM, that is known as a term compute. It provides a complete control of computing resources. Whatever resource you define here, whatever CPU, whatever RAM, whatever graphics you define, GPU maybe you want to give. So those things will be having complete control. You will be able to control. It is giving a self-control also, self-service also. The third point is it reduces the time required to obtain and boot new server instance. For example, if I ask you that if you have a maybe machine with you, maybe a server computer, where maybe there is no operating system. So how long it may take for you to put the operating system in it? Meaning that how much time generally takes when you are installing a new operating system, like maybe Windows Server 2012, Windows Server 2016, or maybe 2019, or maybe Linux. So if I talk about a standard timing, it may vary, but it can be like 15 to 20 minutes minimum it may take to install the operating system on this machine, right? So that is the time to obtain or boot a new server instance. But when we talk about making EC2 instance on Amazon or any cloud service provider, it may take like maximum hardly 2 to 3 minutes. 3 minutes is maximum, I feel like. Practically when I have tried it, 2.5 or maybe 3 minutes it may take when you are planning to, when you are making a new instance, when you are creating a new instance, EC2 instance. So you can see how much time it is saving. It is reducing the time required to obtain and boot a new server instance. The next point is it is providing you the scalability. It is a scalable. You can scale up and down. You can anytime add the number of CPU, you can remove the number of RAM, you can add the number of RAM, I mean storage space you can add. For example, today you have created an EC2 instance with 2 GB. Tomorrow if you want to go for 4 GB or 8 GB, you can easily scale up or you can scale down. Plus it gives you all choice. You can have OS option, you can install their Linux, you can install Windows, whatever you want. Then it also help you to deploy across AWS region and availability zone for reliability. So whenever we create EC2 instance, generally we choose two things. One is a region, in which region you want to deploy it, and then we choose in this region whatever the availability zones are, which we call it like AZ, availability zone. So generally every region will have 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 number of availability zone. So among them, one you can choose whatever is nearest to you to have a better reliability on it. So these are some of the points we have about the Amazon EC2. Now let's move to here. We can see, understand the EC2 instance. What does it mean actually? When we talk about EC2 instance, what exactly they give us? What is EC2 instance exactly is, if we talk about in a physical way. So generally your service provider is having what? A host machine, a very big server. It can be a blade server, it can be a rack server. On the top of that rack server, this physical machine, they use type 1 hypervisor. You know already type 1 hypervisor, right? Like VMware ESXi, or maybe they may use Microsoft Hyper-V, or maybe they use Citrix Gen server. So any of type 1 hypervisor they will use, bare metal hypervisor, and on the top of that they create the guest operating system, means the virtual machine, and that is what exactly the instance is. So whenever you create EC2 instance, what exactly you are creating actually? That you are creating a virtual machine on the hypervisor provided by the service provider, your cloud service provider, whoever is offering you the cloud service. They are already having these servers there, where they have already installed the hypervisor, and they are running some specific applications which gives you the web interface. From there you are able to create this virtual machine, and this virtual machine we call it as a instance. This is the instance. So generally the instance means a virtual machine created on the hypervisor, and this hypervisor is running on where? On the physical host server. Let's move to here about Amazon EC2 instance nomenclature. Generally, when we are going to create any kind of EC2 instance, we have to be aware about some nomenclature. They give some special kind of name to the instance type, and the name generally will be something like this. This is one example of the name, T2.micro. So it is nothing else, it is a name of the EC2 instance, it is a category. What does it mean? What this T2.micro means? That is what we are going to now understand what exactly it is now. So here you will see that there is some a special character will be there in a starting. So like here we have T. Second, it will be having some number which will be representing about the generation. And the third, it will be giving you some special name that is representing about the size of instance. So I repeat, T is representing here instance family, which kind of family it belongs. So this T is actually comes from general purpose. I have just mentioned it, but don't worry about the other part. I am going to explain all of these things in a very broad way now. Then this 2 is representing generation of instance. So this is second generation. If you see T3, that means third generation. If you see T1, that is the first generation. So this number will be representing the generation, and after dot, whatever name is there, that is defining how big or how small that instance is going to be. So here it is representing micro. Some other name can be like nano, micro, large, 2x large, extra large, 4x, 8x. This kind of name will be there after dot. So it will be representing the size of the instance. So whenever maybe for example you are working in a company and your company say that we need an instance now, you need to create an instance, go and create an instance on AWS cloud for this specific task. So you have to first understand what is the purpose of the virtual machine which you are planning to create. How much RAM do you think will be suitable there? How much storage will be suitable there? And how many number of virtual CPU will be supposed to be there. So accordingly you are going to choose this kind of name from the list of EC2. When you visit the Amazon site and when you try to create any new instance, this is the question will be asked to you, what type of EC2 instance you want to create. For example, let me go to my Google Chrome here. And if I log in to my AWS account, I click on sign in. So I want to just show you that when you want to create any EC2 instance, where exactly this option or this question will be coming. So I just need to type here my username and the password. It is about to get login. Once it is logged in, I will be going to the services. Which service I am looking for? Compute service. Which one? EC2. So I go to EC2. EC2 service allow us to launch the instance or create the instance, see the instance, all those tasks. Instance related tasks we do in the EC2 service. So here you see it is going to list first of all. Here are the options you see: instances type, launch template. So right now I don't have any running instance. If you go to launch any new instance here, launch instance, meaning that I am in the step of creating a new EC2. So when I am creating a new EC2, it is going to ask me those questions which I am trying to explain you right now, like T2 micro, T2 nano, T3 micro, something like that. So we have to understand all those, what exactly it means, what does exactly it represents. So let us just wait for a moment to get it popped up. Here you can see, you can choose any kind of AMI. You can see from here Amazon machine images. So here you see, if I select any of the AMI, Amazon machine image, maybe I just go with, let's say that I want to make a Windows Server 2019. So when I go with it, continue, here it's telling me choose an instance type. Without choosing instance type, you are not going to create an instance, right? So here are the list. You see in the type list, T2.nano, T2.micro, T2.small, so T2.medium, T2.large, these names are there. And if you scroll down, you see how many different types are. We have AM5.8x large, 12x large, 16x large, 24x large, AM5.metal, AM4.16x large. So now you see these all are the type. So right now, do you understand the meaning of these types? If not, so for example, here you see one name is saying that I2.x large. What does it meaning of I here? What is the meaning of 2 here? What is the meaning of x large here? Why it is 2x large? What does it mean? So to understand them all, that is what we are covering here. So one example I took from there, that is T2.micro, and now I am trying to explain you that the first letter here representing instance family, which family it belongs to, and family will tell you what can be the use of it. So this one T belongs to a general purpose family. T belongs to a general purpose. Next is 2. So this 2 represents the generation of the instance. Second generation, third generation, like that. So if you go back there again, you see we have I3, meaning that third generation. We have I3. We have I3. Here we can have R5. So this 5 represents the version. Oh, sorry, you can call it like a generation. And then after dot you have the micro. You have here, what are the other name? You have 4x large, metal, large, x large. So these ones after dot whatever is mentioned, that represents the size. Size means how many number of maybe RAM will be there. How much big, how much virtual CPU will be there, and all those kind of things. Instance size. Another link I have shared here, that is aws.amazon.com/ec2/instance type. You can go there also to grab the information. Even if you don't have maybe EC2, you don't have any account in AWS, still what you can do is you can go to any of the browser and you can type there aws.amazon.com/ec2/ here you are going to see the details about the instance type. So you can type here instance type, instance type. Let me first search for it. Let me get the URL from there. So instance hyphen type, that's the link. So aws.amazon/ec2 instance hyphen type. If you check this URL, this is supposed to be like this: aws.amazon.com/ec2/instance hyphen types. If you visit this particular link, you will be able to see from here also what are the different Amazon EC2 instance types are. So we have general purpose, compute, memory optimized, accelerated computing, storage optimized, instance feature. So these are the categories. In general purpose, if you go inside the general purpose, we have A1, T3, T3, T2, M6G, M5. These are some of the categories are. So the one example I took actually here, if you take, this is T2. So T2 comes under which category? It comes under general purpose. Go to the T2 here, you see. T2 instance are bus stable performance instance that provide a baseline level of CPU performance with the ability to burst above the baseline. One extra thing I want to tell you that about the burst. Burst means whatever processor you have used, that processor speed may can go a bit beyond that what the limitation it has set for. You know, boosting, something like boosting. So T2 support actually the burst performance. It support burstable performance there. But T2 comes under which category? It comes under general purpose. So this is what I am trying to explain you, that whatever name you take, you just can get the detail about it by the three category. First character will be representing the family, instance family. Second, the number value will be representing the generation of that instance, and after dot whatever name is there, that will be representing you the size of the instance. Let me move with the next. These are some of the well known categories are, like here in this one, what is the first character we see? T. What are the other character, well known character, where there can be very many, A is there, another, so on, but I am just going to talk about the famous one. Famous names can be start with the D, it can start with I, it can start with R, it can start with T, like one we have seen, T2. One can be with the name of starting with M, one can be with C, one can be with G. So what does it mean? Let's try to understand. D, if you have a instance you are creating and if the name start with D, D represents dense storage. Dense means huge. Huge storage if you are planning to have. Maybe you are trying to make an instance which when we talk about, maybe you are planning to make an instance and the major task of instance is going to be a very huge storage. Maybe you want to make a data you want to use it for data warehouse. Maybe you are running Hadoop system on it. Maybe you are using for map reduce operations. So in such scenarios, you need a very big size of storage as a local storage, meaning that you need this big size of storage as a local hard disk. Like you have a computer where you put a local hard disk of maybe like 500 terabyte, something like that. So this D represents dense storage and the maximum size it can support up to 48 terabyte of storage. That's the limit. But basically what is the purpose of using it? Wherever you need a very big storage as a local storage, as a storage which is directly attached with your system, in that scenario you will be making an instance with the name starting with D there. The next category we have, that is I. I represent IOPS. So here I and O represents input output. If you need a machine where the input output should be very high input output, if you need, there you make an instance in the family of a starting name with the I. So I is representing IOPS, input output performance system, and it uses NVMe, non-volatile memory is very much there. Non-volatile memory means obviously it is going to be referring about your hard disk, but because it is IOPS, it needs high IO, very high input output. So rather than using a normal hard disk on this machine, they will be offering you generally the SSD. They will be offering you SSD type of storage, because SSD is solid state drive which provide you very high input output. It is 4 times costlier than a normal hard disk. For example, if you have your laptop where you have a normal hard disk, SATA hard disk or PATA hard disk, where you have a disk type of hard disk, that type of hard disk, if it is costing you, for example, INR 5000 or 4000, then if you go for the SSD hard disk with the same size, it may cost you like 8,000 or 10,000. So generally if you go to buy even the 500 GB nowadays, 500 GB SSD hard disk, it may cost you around 8,000 or 7,000 INR, which is available if you talk about a drive type hard disk, you may get it maybe like 3,500 or 4,000 INR only. So almost double price is there because you are buying SSD hard disk which provide very high input output. So same thing is here. If you want to have an instance running on your cloud where the main purpose of that instance is to provide high input output, then you will be making an instance from the family of I. Then we can also have the name starting with R. R represents RAM intensive, meaning that if your preferred thing is RAM, you need a machine where RAM is very powerful. RAM, you know what is the use of RAM? To store the running performance, to store the running content. So if you go with the RAM R type of family, you may get even a machine something like up to 768 GB of RAM. You can get a machine up to 768 GB of RAM. So this kind of high RAM machine we generally need if you want to maybe have a web server farm. Web server farm means maybe any company who is a web server provider. Maybe I am a client and I want to host my website. So I can talk to some company who is providing web hosting. So those company who provide web hosting, they may have their server running as an instance with the R because they need a machine which is very powerful with the RAM so that their web services can run faster. This type of instance can be used for real-time data analytics. Real-time data analytics means the analytics of data which is working in a real time. For example, when you type search something on Google, so Google will not say that okay, you first type your search, press enter and give me 5 minutes, I will revert back to you on email address. So generally Google is doing what? Google giving you a real-time data analysis. Whatever you search, it analyze all the data available over the different sites on whole world and then it provide you the output immediate. So such kind of servers, they may run at this kind of instance type, which is the name starting with R. R representing RAM intensive. Then T is a category, just it is not having any specific name, but it comes under the general purpose instance. General purpose, like for example me, I am just maybe learning, maybe I just have a small, very small company where I want to just host a static website, or maybe I want to just have a machine running some basic settings. So in that scenario, general purpose machine, we can make it in the category of T. So like if you are a very basic development environment you are looking for, maybe basic web services you want to run or microservices you want to execute there, then you can create an instance starting with the name T. Then we have also name starting with M there. So M is also representing for general purpose, but this is non-bustable CPU. This is what the difference is between T and M. I have shown you on the AWS site also. Whenever I went to check about T, it was telling me that it supports the bus-stable CPU. The CPU can be giving you the option of bus-stable. It can go beyond what the speed has been defined to it. But here M type of machine provide you the non-bus-stable CPU. So if your CPU speed is 2 GHz or anything, it will be remain there only. There is no option of having a bus-stable function there. Then the next category we have, that is C. C represents compute optimized. Compute means RAM plus CPU both. So here compute optimized means it can support up to 96 virtual CPU for a single instance. And generally we use it for any web server. We use it for scientific modeling servers. Scientific modeling server means if you are having any scientific task to perform. Generally government will have a separate type of machine, but if you talk about any private organization also, those who are doing some research work or those who are using any they have some specific purpose relevant to scientific things, then they may go for the C, or also for HPC type of server, high performance compute server. If you are looking for high performance compute server like blockchaining, so such kind of computer they may go for the C. Even block churning generally work with this G category. So G is what? Graphic intensive. Here you will be getting something extra, that is GPU, graphic processing unit. You know, some of the specific application or task completely depend on the graphic processor, like machine learning. If you are doing something with machine learning, voice recognition, deep learning, blockchaining, cryptography, so those type of machine, they need some graphic processing unit also. So you make instance with the name starting with G there. So these are some of the well known category I have tried to explain you: D, I, R, T, M, C, G. But there are many other, like you may get A type of also. You may get some I have already at least mentioned. So here you see, let's have a look on the next slide. We have some general purpose burstable type of machine that comes like a T2, T2 unlimited. We have general purpose of machine like M4, M5. We have compute optimized C4, C5. We have high I input output like I2, I3, I4 input output, high performance input output. Here we have D for dense storage, H we have for a storage optimized, R we have, X we have, X1, E we have. So these three comes under the memory optimized. G category we have for graphic intensive, for high graphics performance. We have P category, that is for GPU compute. We have F1 also, that is for FPGA. We have EC2 bare metal. What is bare metal here is, let me explain you. If you get instance that is giving you telling that bare metal, or maybe it is having dot metal. If you get any name dot metal there, it's written metal. What does it mean? That it is giving you a complete bare metal. As I explained you, that your cloud service provider is having like this. They have a physical server. On the top of that, they have a hypervisor running, and then on the top of hypervisor, so this is your maybe hardware. There you have Hyper-V. Let me just maybe use Hyper-V. And on the top of that, you create instance. That's your virtual machine. But if you talk about dot metal type of instance, meaning that they are giving you the complete this box. Do whatever you want. So if you getting this complete box, you will not be getting any operating system running already there. You have to install manually your operating system there. But that can be the biggest for enterprise level. If you are making, you are willing to have a computer which is very much powerful with the physical resources, then you go with dot metal category. Dot metal means it is giving you not only this instance, but it is giving you the complete this box running up to the hypervisor. Complete hardware plus hypervisor. The full box, the full machine is going to be dedicated for you. You can do whatever you want on it. But other all, if you go for T2, M4, M5 and all others, they are only giving you an instance running on this hypervisor. So I hope it's very clear for you that what does that mean, what this meaning of the each name here. So let's try to see this all on the Amazon site itself. You can go there to this link which I have already mentioned in my previous slide. So you can see in the general purpose, we are having categories like A1, T3, T3A, T2, M6G, M5, M5A, M5N, M4. One thing keep in your mind all the time, that if you want to see the difference, like here in general purpose, if you see the categories, M is a different category, T is a different category, A is a different category, and if you see which one is the latest, so you should always check like this. The one which is in the left corner, is the latest, the one is in the right side is the oldest. So for example, here you see the oldest is M4, then it has come with M5N, then it come with M5A, and then finally M5. Then it has M6. So this way you will be able to see the latest or oldest type. Here if we check, like in M6G dot medium, if I choose, so M represents the family type, 6 is representing the 6th generation. Here M6G I have used, 6th generation, and dot medium, medium represents the size. So if I go for M6G dot medium, it will be giving me one virtual CPU, 4 GB of RAM, and EBS only a storage. It will not be giving me SSD, it will be giving only EBS because it is a general purpose computer. If you go for the a storage optimize, let's try to go to a storage optimize. We have D for dense. You remember dense for bigger storage. So we have D category. In D category, if you check, you see how big the storage it is going to give you. It is telling me if you go for D2, D for dense, 2 for second generation, X large, extra large, it will be having 4 virtual CPU, 30.5 GB of RAM, and it will be having 3 hard disks, and each hard disk is going to be of 2000 GB, meaning that approx 2 terabyte. So total will be 6 terabyte storage approx. If you go for 2x large means double of extra large. Double of extra large means it was having 4 here, now it is going to have 8 here, double of that. So here it was having 30.5 GB of RAM, now it is having 61 GB of RAM, double of that. Here it was having 3 hard disks of 2000 GB, here it is going to have 6 hard disks of 2000 GB. Then you go for 4x large, 4 times more than the x large. So x large was having 4, so it is now having 16. Here it was having 30.5, so it is having 122. Then 8x large, 8 times more than the x large. So I guess now you will be able to easily understand what does it mean. D represents, this comes in the family of dense storage. It will be giving you preferred thing for this machine is big storage, dense storage. And the generation is 2, and the size you can choose which one size you want to go for. X large, extra large, double extra large, 4 times extra large, or 8 times extra large. Which one you want to go for? If you go for I category means what I told you, high input output, meaning that it should give you very high input output. The data in and out should be very fast. So for that, what does it need? You see, if you go for i3 type of category, here you see one change. It is not giving you simple hard disk, it is giving you SSD hard disk now. Non-volatile memory. SSD comes under category of non-volatile memory here, and it is going to give you, if you go for large, one hard disk with say 475 GB. If you go for extra large, that is going to be 4, and the size of a storage is 950 of one hard disk. If you go for double extra large, so it will be double of the extra large, 4 times extra large, 8 times extra large, 16 times extra large. And don't forget about this. If you go for this, what does it mean? It will be high input output generation 3, and it is going to give you a complete bare metal computer. I hope it's clear to you now. i3 dot metal, what does it mean? It comes from the family of high input output, 3rd generation, and it is a not instance, it is giving you a complete bare metal computer. So there you will get 72 virtual CPU. It can give you 512 GB of RAM, but actually it is because comes from the category of a storage optimized, so the focus is here. Here you get 8 hard disks, and each hard disk size is 1900 GB. Nearby, it's not nearby, maybe even very less, but almost you can say more nearby 2 terabyte. So 8 hard disks you will be getting of 1900 GB each, and those all hard disks are SSD type of hard disk. One thing you can also focus here, maybe, what if you go for large, they give you a speed up to 10 Mbps. Up to means it can be 2 also, it can be 4 also, it can be 8 also, whatever you have the service subscribed for. So these all are up to 10, but this one is dedicated 10. It will be not going less than 10, it will not going up, it will be fixed 10 Mbps. It will be exactly 25 Mbps. Sorry, why Mbps? I am talking about Gbps, sorry about that. So 25 Gbps, 25 Gbps, 10 Gbps fixed. But these ones up to 10 Gbps. It can be less also, it can be 2, it can be 4, it can be 8, like that. So this is what I will recommend you, that after today lesson, after today this particular video lesson, you should go to this particular link and at least spend some time there to see all different categories. We have like memory optimize also. If you go to a memory optimize, we have the category like R, starting with R, RAM, if you remember. R6G is the latest one. The older one was R5. Before that even there was R5A, R5N, R4. So this is the old version. So even if you go for R4, this is what you are going to get. If you go for R6G, this is what you are going to get. So R6G medium, R6G large, R6G extra large, these all are giving you EBS. If you go for metal, then also they give you like this. But if you go for now R6GD, now you have D also, dense. You remember D term? So now if you are going for dense also, meaning that big size, and now it is giving you in SSD here. Now it will be giving you SSD hard disk. And here you see network bandwidth, plus it is also telling you EBS bandwidth. How much speed you will be having with your elastic block storage. Whatever EBS storage you attach with your instance, what a speed you are going to get with that when you talk about memory optimize. So you can go for everyone one by one. Accelerated computing, if I go for. In accelerated computing, you can see we have P instance. So P3 2x large, P3 8x large, P3 16x large. So these all, if you check about, one extra thing you can see here, GPU memory. So here we have GPU of 16 gigabits, 64, 128, that is GPU size. You have main memory here plus GPU is there extra. So this type of machine we use when you have accelerated computing. We have P category, we have INF category also, we have G category also. So if you go to G category, here also you can see instance storage is going to be like this, but it has a GPU memory extra 16, 16, 16, 16, 16 in a single GPU VM. If you have multiple GPU VM, you may get like this 64 GB of graphic card RAM or 128 GB of graphic card RAM. If you go for G4DN method. So this way we have so many different categories are there. Now let me tell you about what are the new, if I talk about maybe in 2019 or 2020, what are the new thing has come, what are the new type of instance has come. So it is T2. T2 has come new. It is a general purpose bus stable instance. Before it was not there. T2 was not there before 2019. If you go for like 2018 or something older days, it was not there. So T2 bus stable performance instance provide a generous baseline level of CPU. It just tell you baseline that this will be the minimum, but it can go burst, it can go beyond that. Performance with the ability to burst above the baseline. Whatever baseline they give you, maybe they give you 2.4 gigahertz. So that will be the baseline minimum, it will be working at that, but it can go beyond it. So lowest cost EC2 instance is going to be around $0.0058. You can calculate the value of it per hour and available on AWS free tier. So maybe in the exam also the question may come that if you are trying to have a AWS free tier, which type of machine you should use? you should always use T2, and which size they give you free, that is dot micro. Meaning that if you have a free tire account, which machine you can use for free, that the full name will be T2 dot micro. T represents the general purpose, second generation micro size of PC you will be able to use for free. So if I go to my login, where I have logged in with my ID, you see here where I was having an option of choosing an instance type, you see here it is written T2.macro comes under the category of free tire eligible, free tire user account, because I have logged in as a free tire account. This is eligible for free tire. There will be no any charge to use this machine. So this T2 micro gives you how many virtual CPU? One virtual CPU and 1 GB of RAM. It will be only having EBS connected with a specific size. Generally it is going to give me 8 GB of hard disk, where the only operating system will be installed, that's it. Network performance will be lower to moderate, and it will be supporting IP version 6. So that's the detail of T2.macro, which is coming under the family of general purpose, and it is free tire eligible. So this is only one instance type which is provided for free tire account, that may come in the exam, that may come in interview. With T2 Unlimited, there is also a category called T2 Unlimited. Burst whenever you want, for as long as you want, and here this is the charge for T2 Unlimited. So here is T2 Nano also is there, T2 2x large is also there. If you go for Nano, you will be getting only half GB of RAM, that is 500 MB. One virtual CPU you will be getting, and it is going to be base performance 5%. You can go for 2x large, you can get 32 GB of RAM, 8 virtual CPU. So these are the some new option has come from 2019-20. Then what else new has come? Another is X1 and X1E. This is the two different category has also come, that is called as a large scalable memory optimized. So here we have one known as X1 here. This X1 is used for large in memory workload like 16:1 gigabit with virtual CPU ratio. That will be the ratio, 16 GB of RAM with one virtual CPU. That will be the ratio here. So we have something like X1.16x large. We have X1.32x large. That's for big size. Here we have one E also, X1E. So X1E is also available with 16x large, 32x large. That's the RAM size. It will be giving you 2 terabyte of RAM, 4 terabyte of RAM with 16 virtual CPU. There is a 128 virtual CPU. So you can see these are for the memory incentive workload, for very large in memory workload, and the ratio will be 32 GB of RAM with each virtual CPU. So this is generally used for high performance databases, large in-memory databases, example like SAP, HANA, and DB workload with virtual CPU based licensing like Oracle, SAP. So in that scenario, we can use this one, which is new, exactly new, which was introduced in 2019 in approx. Then what other new thing we have, that is EC2 bare metal. Now I have shown you so many number of category which has the bare metal. Like one example is i3 dot metal. So what does it mean? This dot metal means, I have told you, it means that it is going to give you the complete bare metal machine, and i3 is nothing else, it's representing high input output third generation. So this, if you go for i3 metal, it is going to give you 36 hyper threaded core. HT technology is enabled on the CPU. 15.2 terabyte of SSD based non-volatile memory storage, and 512 GB of RAM. It is basically designed for workload that are not virtualized. Maybe you are looking through some services which you don't want to run on virtualized system, so you get the complete metal. You get the complete bare metal system. Require a specific type of hypervisor. You can choose what hypervisor you are looking for. or have licensing models that restricts the virtualization. On the basis of license, if you have get license for VMware, or if you have get license for Hyper-V, whatever license you have, accordingly you can install and you can get the services running on it. So EC2 bare metal run metal workload on EC2 with all the elasticity, security, a scale function and services of AWS. You get all those other facility, but these are not on the basis of like the way you have on any running instance. It will be directly with the bare metal computer itself. So basically this entire session was focused on what are the different types, size of EC2 are available. So we have seen it. That was all in this particular session. Now let me continue with the question answer part here. So we are going to see some question which I am not going to answer here. It is you who will be answering. If you have been serious in this entire video session, in the entire this session, you will be easily able to answer all of this question. It is from only the topic which we discuss in this today session. So the first question goes to you all, that which you have to just answer in the comment section or maybe in the chat section. So here the first question is, name any supported model in T2 instance of EC2. Any model. I'm not telling any specific things. I just want to know any name which you know maybe from the T2 category. Name any supported model in T2 instance of EC2. Second question goes to you, that which of the AWS EC2 instance is applicable for free? Which type of instance, which instance is free available, or it is applicable for free tier? Which EC2 instance is eligible for free tier? Next question, third question goes that if your organization requires a server for computer vision programming, if it is looking for computer vision programming, then which exactly, or what is the EC2 desired instance family you will be looking for? Which family machine, which family EC2 instance do you think that it will be suitable? Then the next question, number 4, is if your company wants to build an on-demand bus stable CPU. I hope you just got the answer here itself. Bus stable CPU for its tier 1 web application. What is the desired EC2 instance family will be? If you remember, there is a special type of EC2 I discussed about which supports the bus stable CPU. Then the question number 5, final question from today's lesson is, there is a instance name with R5D.metal. So what do you think? What does it mean? What is the meaning of R here? What does it mean if it is 5? And if it is having .metal, what does it mean? So answer these all 5 questions, and that was all in this particular session. So before I finish this lesson, I will again remind you that I have talked about a special link. It was there on my slide. So kindly visit that slide and please go through all different categories, all different type of EC2 with their size and all. It's not something which you have to keep all the time in your mind. I'm not asking you to make the notes of it or something, but just go through it so that you will have a broad idea. You will have a better understanding that for which a specific purpose, what will be the desirable EC2 instance, which EC2 instance you are going to create for your organization according to the requirement. So I hope this video was informative enough, and I would like to thank you for watching.